I was asked today by a colleague in my workplace what motivates me to build projects and work on things outside of work. And for context, he was asking me as a Christian to another Christian, right? So I am a follower of Jesus. I'm very proud of that. But I also like enjoying, working on startups and being in business and building things outside of our work. And he asked that because being Christian and doing business or thriving in business are often seen as two mutually exclusive things, right? You see, being a Christian as being a very moral and good person, but that I don't think that's entirely true. Being Christian just doesn't just mean being good, but a lot of people associate being Christian as this sort of being a kind and gentle person who doesn't really push things too far or does things outside of the box. And on the other end, you see people in business, particularly leaders in business, being really cutthroat, having to do really harsh things to succeed, right? We live in a capitalist society, us in the Western world. It's pretty clear that to thrive, you've got to beat competition. You've got to do better. You've got to crush them. And so these two things often seem like mutually exclusive things. But nevertheless, I think they don't have to be, right? In fact, I think there's a lot of opportunity for us Christians to build and to thrive in business. Not only for other non-Christians, but for our Christian brothers and sisters too. And this is my thinking, right? I think as a Christian, well, first of all, Christians are so diverse. We come in all shapes and sizes, and well, it's not surprising that there should be Christians in every sort of field, right? Well, with an asterisk there. And I don't think business should be exempt from that. I think business, in fact, should encourage more Christians into that field, because ultimately, business, yes, businesses, they need to make money to survive, but businesses at the core of it can only survive because they serve others, right? Businesses exist to solve problems and to serve the people. Because otherwise, well, what's the business for? A business cannot function if it isn't helpful, if it isn't providing value, and if it isn't serving. Sure, there might be businesses out there that are succeeding that may not abide by these things, but in my honest opinion, one, I either don't think they should exist, or two, I don't think they'll be around long term, right? A business that is sustained by something that isn't doing good, that isn't serving people, that isn't helping people in some particular way, just will ultimately, crumble. And so for the Christian, business is actually a wonderful opportunity, right, to solve problems and to serve people. And as Christians, we are servants, and the world has really gotten it the other way around, right? They see business as an outlet for people to serve them, right? You think of being a boss. People want to be a boss, a leader, not because they want to help people, but because they want people to follow them. And that's just the complete wrong way. And we see this in, our politicians, right? Our politicians are meant to serve us. They're meant to serve the people, right? We vote them in to serve the best interests of the people, to look after us, to look after the country. But what happens is that you see a lot of corrupt politicians that don't do this, right? They go into the position for its status, for privilege, for power purposes, and what should be a position to serve others ends up being really just a whole ruse for their ego. And so, for me, business is a really exciting, interesting opportunity to serve people. I think I'm personally someone who is inspired by figures, renowned figures in any sort of industry, and I find great enjoyment when I find out that they are Christian, that they are followers of Jesus. For example, Justin Bieber, great artist, I love his songs, and it was awesome to see that he too was Christian. And I think most people are surprised by this fact, right? But actually, Justin Bieber has made a lot of Christian songs, not just somewhat Christian, saying the word Jesus or God, but really clear songs about worship, about praising Jesus. And I think that's awesome to see, right? A person of that following, to use his platform as a medium to share his love and passion for Jesus. That's just awesome. And I think particularly people in those positions of power have so much opportunity to share, just because more people are listening. And again, finally, on business, I was reading a book that was gifted to me called Every Good Endeavor by Tim Keller. Amazing book. And one of the core ideas is that one of the beauties of work is being able to show others, especially those who are non-Christian, what the world could look like in our world to come, right? So we live in a world that is sinful, right? It is away from God, right? And we all know this. This earth is not the place that will is meant to be, I guess. And what we can do in our work is show people what the kingdom could look like, right? We'll never reach there because of sin and because of our own limitations and struggles, right? There's only so much we, us humans, can do in our own lifespans, but it can show people a glimpse of what a perfect, happy world with God can look like in our future kingdom. And so being in business where you have a lot of power and leverage, you're really able to show what that world might be able to resemble, right? Whether it's in the past, people like C.S. Lewis, J.R. Tolkien. I think there's a wonderful opportunity for those building interesting businesses to show that, hey, you don't need to be cutthroat. You don't need to be an asshole to thrive in this capitalist world. Yes, it's capitalist, but let's see how being kind to each other, let's see how worshipping and actually serving the people can help us be successful. And that's awesome, right? Showing the power of Jesus in what we do in business.